Bonsoir tout le monde. Hello
Bonsoir.
everyone. Good evening to fellow Kabayans or fellow Filipinos and Cebuanos. And due to public demand, public demand, the side of the family of my husband requested that I should speak English because they don't understand the first video, and perhaps the others as well, they don't understand. So we'll speak English, guys. And by the way, my name is Debie and my husband Stephane. We're going to have a mukbang today, guys.
It's
And
not mukbang, it's pizza.
yeah, but mukbang is just like sharing food together and talking something, whatever, anything under the sun. So, you ordered vegan pipina for me, but it seems that this is vegan margarita.
No. Yes, no, it's vegan anyway.
Yeah, but the vegan pipina is the one with vegetables and not just vegan cheese on it.
I don't know.
Okay, so unfortunately I'm gonna eat
I said-
vegan pizza, guys, but there's no vegetables on it.
I said vegan pepina, and this one is stupid.
Okay. So let's eat, guys. We
Well,
ordered Domino's
there is,
pizza tonight.
by the way, there is 1 extra euro for this vegan.
Okay, so you paid €1 more for this.
Something like this, yes.
Okay. So today, Monamo, I think it's better we discuss to them about the pros and cons
No,
of.
look at that. Maybe buy this bread. I don't know if
Okay, we'll eat it tomorrow. So maybe we'll talk about to them pros and cons of living in France compared to UAE, since we have lived in UAE for so long. I mean, for me, I lived in UAE, guys. I used to work there and live there, and we met there in UAE. So I used to work there for almost 13 years.
yeah.
And my husband, how many years? Is 3 years, right?
Yes, 3 only, yes.
So what do you think the pros and cons of living abroad, or the when you decided to leave UAE going to France, is there negative and positive side that you can share?
First, I didn't decide anything. My job did. That's this one. But I need to go to work for 3 years in UA and then come back after my work. It's not a choice.
Mm-hmm.
It's my job was like this.
Okay, but
Yes, and
okay, so leaving UAE was there, and then now that we settled here in France, was there any things you find that it's good to work abroad than being in your home country?
no, but it was a good experience to live there and to work there because it's a different country, of course.
Mm-hmm. So
Less freedom than in France,
mm,
but safe, more safety. I mean, this country is more safety than in France.
yeah, I agree. It's very safe living in UAE, but I want to know, Ramo, what do you mean that it's less freedom living in France? I don't really understand this one. I find that everybody here are liberal. They're free to do what they want. So what do you mean that less freedom here?
There is less freedom in UA.
Ah, you're talking about less freedom in UAE or in France?
In UA,
Ah, so any other things that is negative and positive for you living in UAE and now you're back in France?
yes. Petrol also is less expensive there.
What is it?
The gas for the car.
The gas, yes, the gas, yes. It's cheap here.
No.
What else?
The life also is different because Of course, we cannot compare because we were living there in Abu Dhabi, so it's a big city, a lot of things to do, a lot of restaurants to try, different kind of food because it's also a country with different, cultures. Many Indians and Filipinos and Pakistanis and any kind of Arabic also. That's from Lebanese or every kind like this, or every kind of different foods. We can also, of course, have this one here, but I think it's less easy, at least in Toulon. Maybe in Paris it's easier, but in Toulon it's not so. There is not a lot of choice like this. You can find, but it's not so easy, and it's so easy also in UAE to have cheap food. You can have a very nice meal for a few euros only.
Eat much?
Yeah, I cannot eat when I'm talking. It's not
Okay.
polite. So anyway, yes, the life is totally different there.
Okay. For me,
Oops, sorry.
leaving UAE and coming here to settle with you, it was really a big jump or a big move for me, and especially that I left a very permanent job there, and it's a stable job, and um, without I wish I had the idea that before coming here, wish you didn't tell me that it's not gonna be easy um, living here and settling here. It was in the first years, guys, it was very difficult to adjust. There are so many difficulties, and I almost like keep fighting with him, and I'm crying because it's hard. Um, you don't easily you don't you don't know anybody here, and you don't know the language, so you feel like you're totally out of the world because you go out, you can't speak any word in French. At that time, I really don't know how to speak French at all. Zero knowledge. And I think the language was the very difficult the thing for me because when I when I go out, then it's like since I cannot speak, so it was difficult to mingle. But I think the positive side is that because I learn a new language and I learn new culture, I somehow adapted now the practices or culture that French are doing. And
The weather also is the same here, no?
compared to UAE,
Yeah.
no, it's cold here, guys, and I love the weather in UAE. It's much better there. Do you have in terms of work, do you have like a difference between the benefits you are getting, uh, your the benefits you are gaining in UAE or compared to the benefits you are gaining in France? Was it different or for you it's the same?
Okay, do it again.
Do you have opinion about or idea about is there a difference or is there a difference between the benefits you are getting when you work in UAE and working in France?
No, the only benefits we get when from us European by going there is just that the salaries are very nice. This is the only benefits we have, and just
And the benefits when you are working in France is what? the salary is less, and then what else? What else benefits?
There's no benefits just because it's my country and that's all.
Yeah, but
Not especially benefits that compares to UA. That the salaries here are less. Sorry, the life also is cheaper here a little bit.
in France,
Here, a little bit, yes.
it's cheaper here than UA.
Yes, if you compare, I'm not talking about gas for the home
Mhm.
car. I'm talking about when you go to cinema. It's I think it's a little bit less expensive here. If you want to travel, you can travel for not a lot of money here because Europe is not very big, so you can easily travel. This cheap
Yeah.
cheap ticket for plane.
Mm. I think that's one of the pros also in living abroad or living in France specifically, because when you want to travel to another country, um, which France is where it's located, it's very near to to other European countries. And for example, if you want to see another country with different totally, when you go to that other country, it's a different culture, different language. So for example, you have in the northeast, it's Belgium and Luxembourg and Germany, and then on the east side you can easily go to Italy and Spain and Monaco.
No, Spain is the west.
Italy is in the east, is
Yes.
it? The east side is Italy, and then there's the Spain
Spain is south, and Portugal also
and
on the
Monaco.
west side.
So you can easily visit and see these countries by train or by airplane, and there are good rates also. Except now that not everybody can travel because of COVID, but I think that's one of also the advantage of living in France. You have this easy access to go to these different European countries. And how about UK? Is it in the geographically, which part is it?
No.
Mm. And it's also easy from France to go to UK, right? By train.
Yeah, I come from Paris. Gare du Nord. There's a TGV. I think from Paris it's 2 hours and a half to go to London.
Okay. For how long? One.
I've just told you 2 hours and a half from
That's very.
from Paris.
And about benefits, talking about benefits that we are gaining here in France, maybe if you can.
No, I cannot no.
Why?
Because I don't know.
For example, the healthcare.
The what?
The healthcare in France is amazing. It's very good. For example, when we do our classes, it's free, and
No, it's not free now.
it's not everything is free.
No.
So how much the percentage that the amount is you have to?
Depends on what kind of glasses you buy. If you take the first cheap price, you will not pay a lot of money. But if you want nice glasses, it's a little bit expensive.
So the insurance.
Even if you don't pay, no, the insurance doesn't pay everything.
So it's like not 100%. The insurance covers the cost of like dental or any kind of medicines or.
It's an amount. For example, they will give you, I don't know, 100 euros for the frame and 85 or 9 euros per glass.
Okay.
And then you manage.
And then if it exceeds to that budgeted amount that is covered by the insurance, then then of course you pay the excess amount. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, and how, it's the same thing also for the dental, right? That if we go to the dentist.
Usually dental is free. I mean, not free. You pay and the insurance will give you the money back.
So it's like since the insurance gives you the money back, so it's like it's free.
Yes.
So that's what I'm talking about. That the
Yeah, but you're
healthcare
talk-
in France is amazing.
Yeah,
It
but you're talking about classes that you do not classes. The classes they will not pay everything.
okay, but at least the insurance pay a sum of it.
Yes, but what is good in France, if you need a surgery, will be totally free.
Yeah,
You don't pay anything. The insurance will pay the hospital for you.
yeah. Like for example, with your father, right? That
Mm-hmm.
he had this prostate, and when you have a prostate cancer problem, you really will be spending a lot of money with all these medicines and procedures that you need to do, like the test and biopsy, and
Any kind of cancer.
yeah.
Yeah, you don't pay anything.
And here in France, that's why because I noticed it, and you told me that your father doesn't pay anything, so that means, guys, that I find it amazing because back home in Philippines, for us, poor us, but that you don't have the money and you're sick, and then you go to the hospital, and even nowadays in the hospital, as far as I remember, the last time I was there, when you are sick and you are sending your loved one or your family, that whoever is sick, and when you reach the hospital, they are not going to entertain this person unless you pay a certain amount of down payment to the hospital, something like 5,000 pesos at that time. I don't know how much now, but like you have to have these 5,000 pesos to as a down payment for them to entertain your sick loved one, or otherwise they will just entertain the other people who has money, and that's the that's the that's the pros in living in France, because in Philippines we really don't have this very good healthcare system or amazing healthcare system that we have. There is insurance who's gonna shoulder you, and when you get sick for anything, it's free, and you go to the when we go to doctor where we don't pay anything, and the medicine is free. In Philippines, nothing is free, and it's because we don't have insurance unless we buy the insurance ourselves. But here it's like automatically everybody has an insurance, and when you are so at the end in return you are gaining from it, and that's the good thing about it.
In France, we are supposed to have the best system in the world. That's what usually
Yeah.
is said. That in France, this is the best system in the world. It's expensive because you pay a lot of tax on your salary.
Yeah.
But at least when you are sick, you will not they will not let you die because you don't have money.
Yeah. True. So
In this kind of, I remember even in UA, your brother,
yeah.
you don't pay, they don't do anything.
If your insurance, even in UAE, there is like different kinds of insurance companies, and if you are, because you're an expat, and usually there when you're working, the company where you're working, they are the one who choose what type of insurance they're giving to their employees. So if their insurance, like my brother was of a certain level or type of insurance that only covers to this the coverage is limited, so which doesn't cover everything, so of course you have to pay for it, and otherwise if if not everything is covered, then you really have to worry of what
happened to you?
to pay for if you don't have money as well.
Yeah, if you don't have money,
So I think
you die.
here in France, thanks to their wonderful system, and you worry less here. You worry less about.
You don't have here. You don't have to worry. You know that
Yeah.
if one day you just have to just have to pray or to think that shall I get better or not? Not because I cannot offer these medicines or I cannot offer to go to hospital for to have this surgery. Not for this. Just you expect that you hope that everything will be okay for you. That your body will accept all these medicines, and that's all. But
Yeah.
don't you will not take you will not worry if yes or no you will be able to have these medicines. Of course you will have these medicines.
Exactly, that's the right word that as you said, you don't worry here um, for or where to get money to pay when you get sick, when you wanted to have a when you wanted to fix your tooth or your teeth problems or eyeglasses and many things. All about like when you lose your job, for example, when you lose your job and when something in case happens to you, there is this social security assistance that the government is always give you an enough certain amount that is sufficient for you to live at, for the time being that you don't have a job or while you're looking for a job, something like that. So
Look what happened for this confinement
mm,
in France. There is confinement.
yeah,
You yourself
yeah,
you stayed at work at home. Nowhere your company the restaurant was closed.
yeah,
You got your salary.
exactly,
Okay, by the government.
yeah,
Look what happened to your brother in UA. Nowhere because the restaurant was closed. Nowhere, no salary. Finished. You
yeah,
don't eat. Don't eat anymore for 2 months
yeah,
because you don't have salary.
yeah. So the the first the first lockdown we had here, guys, it was month of March, April, and first week of May, almost 3 months, 2.5. We were not working, mandated by the government that we have to stay at home due to COVID. And at that time, so the restaurant where I work was closed and all other restaurants. So at that time, if I was working in UAE, I think I would be the same with my other friends there that they didn't get paid or maybe they get paid but on a certain amount only. But here we didn't really work. We were at home and I get my 100% uh, pay check every month in my bank account. So
Yeah. Look at even remember when you were in UA, every time you need to take holidays,
yeah,
your salary was less.
mm,
Remember when you take 2 weeks holidays,
mm,
your salary you still have a salary but not full salary.
exactly,
Here in France, when you go 1 month in a holiday in August or July, you will have your full salary
right,
because when you have your salary or your holidays in France, you get your full salary
yeah,
for 5 weeks.
exactly. So aside from that, guys, I think one thing I could add also as
And then we should do after.
so we mentioned about the language, which is difficult to learn, very difficult. It's the most important thing when you go to a country like France that if you want to live here, you must study French and learn French by heart because if you don't, then it's difficult for you to integrate the life and the way of life here and the culture here. And how about negative of living in France? You as a French, any negative? I know it's your country, but any negative?
Negative if you compare to what? Because there is only
UAE.
the temperature is not the same. Cool here and in winter,
Yeah, it's very cold. Although we are lucky here because there's sun.
but it's good also because in summer here it's hot, but okay you can move, you can do something, you can go out. It's hot but not very hot. In UAE you cannot do anything
Mm.
for 2 months, 3 months. You stay at home because it's 60 degrees. You cannot move your ass. You just stay at home because there is the AC. You go no more because there is AC and it's finished.
Yeah. negative also is the bureaucracy here. The oh, the administration here, guys. Imagine when we really like scratched our head at that time when we were processing um, our wedding to apply for our marriage here in the town hall here. We really scratched our head because there were so many documents that they need, and they were asking a lot of documents, even though we find it like not really necessary. Okay, come back here. We will soon finish talking with them. So yeah, we scratch our head even though we have nothing to scratch, or we don't have dandruff in our head. We scratch our head at that time. So many documents. The name it like.
I don't know if it's easier in UA. For example, I don't know.
There are a lot of
it is.
documents also in UA when they are asking.
Always, I think administration. I think is always difficult. Always they try to do it on, and they try to make the maximum to for you to have a difficult life.
They even ask this proof sorry, proof of domicile or proof of address of me in my house in Philippines or in Cebu. They ask this one, and of course, in each document that coming from my side has to be translated in French, and in each document, guys, we have to pay for it for a legal translator, which costs 60 euros per page.
Yeah.
It's very expensive as well, and so I think that's the negative part I find here in France.
How many pages we bought? We have. How many pages we have to translate? Maybe
so many.
10 or 15 at least.
So many documents.
So you can imagine 15 pages is 60 euros each.
Yeah. And anyway, so I think there are good things and bad things, or yeah, of living UAE and settling here and living here for good in France. But you know the main reason why I moved here in France and sucked all up this struggle or difficulties living here and learning the language. You know why?
It is because of me, of course.
So it's because of what?
Because I'm a very nice boy. Man,
because of l'amour, huh? Mon amour. Oh, yeah.
Okay, we have to say goodbye now.
We have to say goodbye, guys. Thanks for being with us. We hope that you enjoyed a little bit of chat about.
And thanks for not watching us.
About our move leaving UAE and settling here in France for good. We hope that you enjoyed a bit of it, although it's just a random opinion or thoughts about us living in France now and what we find negative and positive.
Yeah.
Bye,
okay,
everyone.
Bye.
Habitude day keeps us closer. Au revoir. Merci beaucoup.